Hello, I'd like to welcome you to the Level Up Show. Today we're talking about an abundant mindset. So come on in, welcome, get comfortable, perhaps take some notes, share with your friends to share the goodness. This is airing on the Central Multicultural Radio Show, where we love to help families and create happy children. This is a place where we can come, be at peace, reset unhealthy patterns. Together, we will build our faith and level up to make a difference in the world. I'm happy to say I have my executive assistant joining me today. Her name is Dawn, and I am so glad to have her with us today. And I'm happy to have you here with us today. My name is Olivia.K. I'm also an executive mindset speaker and coach. So let's dive in and make a difference in the world. To win, it's important to give more than you take, to have an abundance mindset. It may not always be easy, but you can train yourself to give to others even when life gets hard. Taking our attention off ourselves in difficult situations that come up it must be a choice. Oftentimes we get sucked in and we keep our focus so much on ourselves. We tend to overthink things when they get too hard. You know, our bodies and our minds are meant to protect ourselves. We weren't actually meant to thrive. We weren't created to thrive. We were created to protect ourselves. So it's a bit of a trick. You know, God created us to live an abundant life, but if we were careless, we could have our life end pretty quickly. Just for instance, when we get in a car and drive, we want to be mindful of what we're doing because we could easily crash and, die or whatever. So we can't just, do anything. Life is full of boundaries and all of that. We know this. But oftentimes when things get really hard, we just want a quick fix. And we can't always fix things quickly. Oftentimes we want to know that outcome because we may be suffering in that time that we're overthinking. We're not trusting the situation. It's fuzzy, it's scary. We become very impatient. We oftentimes might lack our faith in instead of saying, I trust God, or I trust the outcome, I trust the universe, or whatever it is that you believe in, we have a lack of faith sometimes when things get tough, when the going gets tough. We oftentimes, when we're there, we want to take control of the situation. We want to perhaps control other people because we think it should go a certain way. But the more we have that resistance, we create that resistance, the harder things become. The more we let go, the easier things tend to flow. Last October, my faith was tested. I was really, really led by the Lord to go away and let go of everything that I actually knew in that moment. My life, everything. I was really led to walk away from life as it existed. My day-to-day life, my home, walk away from this for a short period of time, my family, all my habits, everything that I did in that moment, the Lord was calling me to step away and just completely take a break. I didn't know what that was going to look like. I just knew what he was showing me, and it was go away and trust me. That was pretty much what my assignment was. Go away and trust me. I knew that I was going to a place for about 10 days, but after that, I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where I was going to be staying. I didn't know anything about the area where I was going to be staying, which I ended up in the mountains of North Carolina. And I didn't know anybody that was there. Nothing was familiar to me. I walked away and just, I call it like I stepped out in blind faith. It was like having a blindfold over me. I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know what was going to happen for those 40 days. So the reason why I did this is because I was struggling. I was struggling for a few months in a very deep way. And that was what the Lord called me to do. It was this assignment. He said, step away for 40 full days. I want you to have this quiet time with me, just me and me alone. You know, we know that God is known to be a jealous God. And what that means is, you know, he knows that he knows that he knows right. And when he's jealous, it's that he wants our attention. He wants to be close to us. He wants to, like, when I think about it, like pull us on in and comfort us. You know, he knows that he can do that better than anyone else. So when I did this, it required just this full trust, because I knew, you know, like I was saying, I knew where I was staying just only for those 10 days. And I found myself while I was there praying a lot. And when I mean a lot, it was all day. And I wasn't praying just for myself so much. I was praying for other people. I went to the mountains there where I had never been. I never had visited there. And little did I know while I was there, it actually was the first anniversary of Hurricane Helene. And while I was there, I began to wonder if God had sent me there for a purpose. It occurred to me that every person, every stranger I was praying for, they were so opened, and I thought, wow, I've asked to pray for people before, and sometimes they turn me down. They say no thanks. But when every single person I asked, can I pray for you? Every single person said yes. And when I would ask these people, and this would be, it would be through my day-to-day thing. I could be at a grocery store, a gas station. I could be grocery shopping. I visited the Billy Graham Library, and it was maybe visitors that were there, or people that worked there. And I would ask them if I could pray for them, and not one person said no. They were all very open and eager to have someone pray for them. And while I would pray for these people, oftentimes they would share this story about what happened 1 year ago when Hurricane Helene came and hit them out of nowhere. I heard stories like people didn't have anything but a wallet. They walked away, or they went and their whole house was taken away, and the only thing they owned was the clothes on their back in a purse or a wallet. And I heard stories about how people came together when things got tough. Instead of going inside of themselves, they went out of themselves. And it was important to help the person next to them. I got out of my weary head because this was a time of great struggle and difficult for me. I stepped out of my weary head and into the glory of God to love people. There was a lot to celebrate, even in the darkness. There is a lot to celebrate, even in the darkness. The one thing I know is we can overcome even when it seems like we can't. We have the ability to overcome. And so when I was praying for these people, it seemed to give them a sense of hope. It seemed to just show them that we can come together and spend even if it was 3 minutes or 5 minutes, that could lift them up and change their life moving forward. So I had this sense of purpose because nobody was telling me no as I would pray, and I would ask and then I would pray. So maybe God had sent me because it seemed that way. And some people would say that. It was as if I came out of nowhere and into their life. And oftentimes people would say, I needed to hear that today. And I could have really used that prayer today and a thank you. It's we have the ability to bring hope and love to a stranger, whether times are great for us or whether they're horrible. We can do that. We are all connected one way or another. So praying with and for others, it brought me peace at a time when I was called to be still with the Lord. I was still with the Lord. I was quiet with the Lord. At the same time, I was active. I was really making a difference just by using my voice and, using my essence, using my spirit, looking people in their eyes, perhaps holding their hand, giving them a hug, or just a word of encouragement, depending on who it was. I was planting seeds on new ground, helping people understand God sees them in every season and every trial. We can do that. We can do that with our words. And I say yes. And I say, Amen. We can choose to speak life. We can live life to its fullest. We can have abundance even when we don't feel it at first. We have to choose it. We have to speak it. The power of the tongue is a timeless concept. It emphasizes that words carry immense weight. They act as if a catalyst for either profound encouragement or deep harm. So we must choose by shaping our thoughts and influencing those around us. Spoken language essentially constructs the reality we live in. In Proverbs 18:21, it says, life or death can be built up. It can build up dreams or tear them down. So that's the whole idea, the concept of Proverbs 18:21. That's a pretty profound thought. Life or death. Life or death. And then building dreams up or tearing them down. Think about the building. Think about when you construct something, a new home or a new building, how exciting it is. But when something gets torn down, it doesn't exist anymore. Our words have the ability to do that, to produce that. I took my life in my own hands at one point, and I decided that mindset was the way. It was the way. And so, my dear friend Dawn, your thoughts around mindset. How important have you found mindset to be in your life?
Well, I found mindset, and thank you for having me, Olivia. It's great to be here and good to see you. Um, Mindset is extremely important. If you break the word down, it's how you set your mind instead of just going on autopilot through life. It's how we're setting our mind, and it's the way it includes the direction of our focus and our attitude and our belief systems, all of which can be set intentionally by ourselves, to whatever we wish. It's sort of like, set your radio station to whatever radio station you'd like to pick up. Set your mind to whatever direction, whatever attitude you'd like to have. And it's made a big difference in my life because I had a lot of self-limiting beliefs, I think is what they're called, self-limiting beliefs. Should I go on, or is this a two-part question?
It is a two-part question. I love how you use the word attitude in there.
Oh, thank you.
It's huge. Our attitude is everything.
It
Attitude of
is.
you if you don't have the attitude of gratitude, like
You absolutely have to have an attitude of gratitude, and you have to feel it. You can't just think it. You've got to have the vibrational energy of gratitude. You have to be gratitude, embrace and embody gratitude.
absolutely. Now, when you touched on limiting beliefs, can you tell us an example of what it means to have beliefs that are limiting you? We're going to cover that first. What does it
Well,
look like to
well, it
have
looks
beliefs?
like limiting beliefs to me are things like thinking that I can't show up because things are messy or because there are certain things that certain limitations or challenges that I might have. Um, or that I'll never advance or excel because of my limitations or my age or where I've been, what I've been through, where I come from, who I am not, whatever. These are all self-limiting beliefs. And I have a mindset of persistence and adaptability.
Hmm.
And through that, on my journey, I'm on a mindset journey. My mindset is evolving from somebody that was fairly complacent and almost giving up on my life, and just I had come to a quiet acceptance of this is what my life has been. And then something gave me hope to try one more time, and it unlocked a whole new set of ideas and a whole new mindset and a whole new life. And it happened to be right around the time I met you, Olivia. So,
It's
yeah,
exciting.
yeah.
Well, we have something in common because I have been told by friends and clients that I am a persistent person. That's one word that people use to describe me is persistent.
Oh, wow. Well, persistence does have value.
This just came up for me. I remember when my husband used to say, persistence beats resistance.
Yes, it does. You
That
have to pick one.
beats resistance.
Mm.
And I love also when you said unlocked. That you were kind of in this funk, or it was more than a funk. You were in a really limiting belief state, and then when you unlocked it, it's like bam, the door just opened, and now instead of seeing I can't, explain to us what it looks like now that you've unlocked. What do you see now?
Now I'm seeing unexpected things that I can do, and I look at these ideas that I come up with, and I think, do I really have the ability and the skill set to do this? And I do. I really do. I have the background, I have the experience, and I just need the proper mindset. I need to set my mind to be able to adapt and be persistent and stay grateful that I have this opportunity to grow. And something that came to me today as I was working was A thought that came to me. I'm not going to claim it as my own because it came to me. It's not what you build that matters, it's who you become along the way. So our mindset matters, but it's not what we're building with our mindset in this world so much as who we are building for ourselves, who we're becoming as we build our dreams
Yes, it makes me think
through
of,
the mindset.
there's a song, I think it's by Miley Cyrus. It's not the, how does she say? It's not the, it's an uphill battle, and it's about the climb. It's not about like when you get there,
Oh, yes,
climbing.
about the climb. Yeah.
And I would have to say that it makes me think about when I also wrote my book. And while I was writing my book, that was those were very special moments. And also a client of mine, she was writing her book, and I walked beside her. She and I would meet together every week after I was done coaching her, and we would write our books together. And she talks about how important and how kind of how special that was for her as well. Um, it was the climb, what we were doing while we were doing it. And yes, it was exciting when we both unpackaged our books. Mine was a few years ago, and she just unpackaged her book recently. It was very exciting, but it wasn't like the climb. It wasn't
Hmm.
like when you were in that moment, climbing up there. And so giving, it is so powerful, when we're in that time. And, we were talking about just having, it's also known as like a scarcity mindset. When you're talking about the limiting beliefs, it's scarcity. What is
Hmm.
that? It's a mindset of lack. It's a mindset of I don't have enough, or it's a worry. It's a worry mindset. Scarcity, I think of worry, because worry is robbing you of what could be, or worry is, I say it's just such a waste of time. Worry is a waste. And
It
then
is.
also it's the thing about not enough. Not enough. I always say it's so important about who you spend your time with. And I want to share this special note that I received from a friend slash client. I met her on one of my trips. It was after my dad had passed away in 2018. She had just lost her husband the month after my dad passed. And she wrote this beautiful letter. And she's one of the most abundant people I've ever met. And she says, "You are a great friend. You pray for me. You care about me and my family. You make time to connect with me. You invite me to visit and stay with you." And then she goes on to say, "I felt bad that I haven't worked that out yet, but I know one day it'll work out for me to come to Michigan." So I share this because this is talking about what does abundant look like? What does an abundant friendship look like? What has God created? When something starts, you never know what He's doing in the midst, in that middle part. Like, hopefully we're never at the end point, but sometimes we get to the top of that mountain, yet we may have more peaks to climb. This is kind of my relationship with Megan. She says, "I love that you have such a strong love and relationship with Jesus. You speak very highly and positively about people around you. You absolutely love your children. You've shown love to my kids by writing them kind notes and getting them thoughtful gifts. An example of you speaking highly of someone is my dad. I remember you telling me I should find someone that has his character and love for God." And recently, Megan just got engaged, which is awesome. So it was her husband that passed away, and it's been 8 years um, since that had happened. So she says, "I always feel better after interacting with you. You remind me to know that I am a daughter of God and that He loves me. He would never want me to settle." If you are hit with a challenge, I see you turning closer to Jesus, praying for his help and guidance, and trusting the promptings you receive from the Holy Spirit. I see you looking for ways to serve others. I respect you and you're a wonderful commitment to the Lord. I respect you and your wonderful commitment to the Lord. I believe you have a pure heart and pure intentions. You have been such a positive influence in my life. I feel like you were an angel that God sent my way. Love you so much. And so, of course,
It's 9 o'clock.
Oops, and it's 9 o'clock here where we are recording. And I, of course, responded back just telling her that she is truly one of the most amazing, talented, and beautiful people been blessed to meet. And I just went on to telling her that she is authentic, inspiring, intelligent, and so incredibly kind and loving. And I feel the same way about her. And I said you with all the things she had written me. But I share this because sometimes we don't know what God is doing. We meet somebody and we can tell, and usually you can tell there's signs of abundance right in the beginning. You're going to see the signs of abundance, or you might see the signs that known as red flags, things that are down, things that you're guessing and questioning. Well, that was a little bit off. That didn't feel so good. That, if you're noticing those, know those right away, trust your gut and head the other way, head in the opposite direction, because you were called to do amazing, beautiful, and abundant things. Would you like to share like what's on your heart in the last moment? We have about a minute left to share before we jump off, Don.
Well, just one last thing I wanted to say that I wrote down that I heard once upon a time was that we attract more of what we focus on with regard to scarcity. So if we're always worried about scarcity and always focused on lack of this, lack of that, we tend to attract more of that. So focus on what we want, not on what we don't want, I suppose, right?
Yep, what you focus on grows.
Right.
What you water grows. So when you plant a seed, and when I met Megan, the letter that I just shared, we were like kindred spirits. I just knew something was really special about her, number one, but we had in common the death of somebody that meant so much to us. But right then and there, that it was a seed that was planted, and it was a friendship seed.
Mm-hmm.
And she spoke light and love. She was just a beautiful person right off the bat. And I decided to let that go, even though we live in different states. I decided to stay in touch with her over the years, and my heart really went out to her because of what happened with her husband. So I felt really led by the Lord to just bless her with gifts. And it felt really awkward actually. But I was bringing her flowers and gifts and sending her boxes of things, on special times like his birthday or her birthday or the anniversary and things like that. But it was because the Lord put it on my heart. In abundance I want to say abundance, I want to have this stick with you, that abundance, in order to have abundant mindset, you need to step out, and it's going to be uncomfortable. Abundance is not about being comfortable. And abundant mindset is available to anyone. It's just a choice away, just a decision away. You decide that I am going to live a life of abundance. I'm going to have not a scarcity mindset, but an abundant mindset. So your homework for this week, your exercise for this week is to hold your thoughts captive. Examine those thoughts. Examine your thoughts before you speak them, because we know your thoughts are life or death. What are you speaking over yourself? What seed are you watering every day when you wake up in the morning? So I want to leave that with you. So please do your homework, and we'll be back next week. God willing, I'll be back next week, next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And if I can help you with anything, speaking or coaching needs, please feel free to reach out at buildingchristianroots.com. And Dawn, how can people reach you for your gift? Because you are very talented, and
Oh, thank you.
tell them what you do and how they can reach you.
Okay. Well, what I do, I have a couple of things a couple of different things that I do, but the one that I'd like to share right now is that I am Olivia's executive assistant, and I have my own business as the owner of Advanced Executive Solutions. I can be reached at dawn.anderson@advancedexec.com. Um, that's my professional email, but if you have a prayer request or any special requests or questions about the radio show, I'd be happy to answer them through that email as well.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing that. It was really fun having you on the show
Thank
today.
you. It was great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, listeners, until next time, you be blessed and utilize that mindset. Choose abundant mindset every day. Much love, Olivia K. Bye bye.